Good morning, gorgeous. How are you ladies doing this morning? I hope you're all doing wonderful. For those of you who are here for the very first time, welcome to my channel. I'm Dr. Michelle Daff. And for those of you who are returning, welcome back. Thank you for joining me for another video in Feminine Rehab. And today we're discussing dating mistakes that keep women single. We're going to talk about 5 different things that you may be doing as a single woman who's trying to embody her femininity that's causing you to struggle in the dating world. So I want you to go ahead and sit back, relax, get something to drink, get something to write with, and let's talk about this. Before we get into the video, I want to invite you to visit my website and discover my fragrance, Fine Forever. My fragrance is called 2911, and it's a beautiful feminine fragrance that's sure to turn heads and make you stand out. You can purchase this fragrance with a discount code by being one of my viewers using the code FEMININE for 20% off of your fragrance. This is a fragrance with a promise. And with God, you will be fine forever. Now, ladies, so many of you have reached out to me and told me that you want to date, you want to find a really great guy, you want to be in a relationship where you're happy, you're able to rest in your femininity, and you're struggling. And a lot of times when I'm listening to these conversations, I'm hearing things that stand out as red flags in terms of things that you're doing that's causing you to struggle. And I know so many of you didn't have women in your lives to guide you and to share maybe some of their mistakes with you and different things that may be hindering your progress. So I really want you to just remove any guilt, any mistakes that you've made, and just soak this in and think about how maybe you're doing some of these things and it's hindering you finding a really special man. The first thing that I want us to talk about is dating men for their looks, their money, or their education. A lot of times, these are the things that when we see someone that we're interested in, we sort of like vet them and we're so interested in their physical appearance or maybe where they went to school, what profession they have, or perhaps, just the fact that they may have a master's degree or they may have studied under this particular person or they may have a specific career. Maybe they're an entertainer or a professional basketball player, or maybe they're a surgeon or an attorney. And you think, wow, like I've made it. This is the person that I want to be with. And this is one of the biggest things that gets us women into problems because these things, although some of it, like maybe their looks, come off as superficial, even their education or their money can be superficial because those things do not dictate a person having good character, having good values, and being an actual good person. Okay, these are things that are just nice to have. And yeah, some of them are important to have, but they're not everything. And I have seen so many women in my personal life and, here on social media who have been gun ho about dating a specific person because they're tall or they're attractive. And some of them go even as far as to have children with this person, but they end up not being the man that they thought they were going to be. They end up leaving them. And they were just so consumed by things that didn't matter in the long run. So you can do yourself a favor by focusing on the things that do matter. Okay, looks and money and job titles and education and all of those things are good on paper. But the person who you're going to be with every single day, speaking to, dealing with the way that they treat you, dealing with their moods, their failures, their successes, any illnesses that could possibly happen, job changes, job losses, just life, the things that really just happen in our lives. That person is going to need more than those things. So, really do reconsider that and think about how in your life maybe you've been drawn into dating people for these reasons only. I have a video about the qualities of high value masculine men where you can learn about things that do matter, the things that actually make a man a worthwhile man to spend your time with. The second dating mistake that keeps so many of us women single and struggle in the dating world is not clarifying things with the man that we're dating before getting into a serious relationship. So, when you meet a guy and you're so excited and you're going on dates and you're talking about what you like and what you want, and they're telling you about their dreams and what kind of woman they want. A lot of times we gotta get like sucked into that and we start thinking, like, okay, are we this? Are we that? He has this, he has that. And we start just kind of like calculating all these things preliminarily. And usually we get lost in that without understanding maybe what that person meant, or if they meant they want that with you, and really taking the time to understand what it is that they're really saying and if their actions are following those words. So if you meet a man and he tells you that he's marriage minded, that doesn't mean that he wants to marry you. It doesn't mean that he wants to get married right away. He could possibly want to get married 10 years from now. But if that's all you needed to hear to think that, okay, he's ready. So it's been a year and he hasn't proposed to me, like what's going on? You're going to be upset because it wasn't clear. And I've talked to you ladies in the past about how important it is to remember that men who are worthy typically want their career and things that are important to them to be in place before getting married. Sure, they're going to date you and they're going to have fun with you, but until their life is where they want it to be and they feel like they have something to bring, they usually are not going to want to get married. Okay, that's just the responsible thing to do, is to have their career and other things in place before opening up their lives to women, right? People who are serious. So it's important that you don't get just swept away by things that men say, whether they're just straight up lies, things that they're telling you because they know you want to hear them. Okay, so many women, especially those of us who are like on dating sites looking for love, or those of us who are, let's say, over a certain age, okay, like mid 30s, mid 40s, men kind of have this idea that you're just desperate and they come to these dates sort of knowing what it is that you're looking for and can tailor their responses or what they say to what they know you want to hear. So if you're so engrossed in what he told you on the date and you're just holding on to that, but you see no evidence of him actually doing those things, then you do need to reconsider and think, okay, is this someone that I really want to continue dating? Was what he said just sort of like what he wanted to say in order to get me? Or is he serious about these things? Okay. Does his actions, the fruit of his life, go in line with what he said? That is so important. Okay. I don't want you to get so attached to the words that you're being blinded to the truth and to what the reality is for you. The third thing that so many of us women do that keep us in bondage in the dating world and stop us from being able to have success in dating is not sticking to our standards. There are so many of us women who go into dating with this list of all these things that we said we're not going to do, things that we want, things that we will and won't accept. And then when it comes to it, when you meet the guy and you're so taken aback by his looks or his personality, you just leave all that stuff behind. Okay. Maybe you might even tell him, you might say things like, I don't sleep with a guy on the first date, or I don't want to have sex at all, right? Some of you say you don't want to have sex at all. But by the end of the day, because he's so charming and he's so attractive, and you're just, swept away by everything, you're sleeping with him. It just makes it look like you're not serious. And unfortunately, like I've told you so many times, men are always going to want that from you. Okay. They're going to always want to get as much as they can get from you if you're willing to give it. But they'll also respect you for whatever you're not willing to give. And they do believe you when you say whatever you're saying, they believe it. But as soon as you contradict yourself by doing what you said you would not do, the respect is lost. And a lot of times they just lose a little bit of that trust in terms of whether or not you're a serious person about the things that you say. And unfortunately, it leaves you in a place, dear, where you feel bad about yourself because you didn't stick with what you said you wanted to do or didn't want to do. So try not to, okay, if you can, try not to lay things out when you're not serious about them. So don't meet a man and then say, "Oh, I don't chase men," right? Because maybe he's not calling you or texting you and you're getting upset and you say, "Well, I don't chase men. So if you don't want to talk to me, then we won't talk." And then you're texting him over and over. You're calling him. You're getting upset that he's not reaching out to you. You're chasing him. And he sees that. So you saying that really doesn't change anything. And it does cause a lot of issues for you when you start bending on things that you said you wouldn't do. It doesn't just cause issues in terms of maybe the relationship not working out. It causes issues after with you being hard on yourself because you went against your own standards. You struggled with your own boundaries, the things that you set for yourself, you did not stick with. Okay, those things stay with us for a long time. So, this is something that really does get in the way of you meeting someone really special. If you've taken the time to write out or think through the things that you do and you don't want for yourself, then do your very best with the help of God to stick to those things. Okay, you will be happier and it'll help you to get what it is that you want without falling short. The fourth thing that keeps so many of us women single is trying to be what we think the man wants us to be versus who we actually are. Being in this world, we are constantly flooded with images and with advice on how we need to be and what a man wants and all these things. And when we meet someone we like, a lot of times we start thinking, okay, he likes this kind of woman, or his ex looks like this, so I need to look like that. Or he talked about this particular singer, so I should be like that. And you start thinking about all the advice that you've been given, and you just start to just change. You change your ways instead of being who you are and showing up as yourself to see if he genuinely likes you, right? And obviously, this can be very difficult because you want to put your best foot forward. You want him to like you. So if he starts talking about the kind of things he likes, the kind of women he likes, if you start seeing maybe the kind of women he's liking on Instagram, or again, like you see a picture of his ex girlfriend or whatever, you may start to change. And this is terrible because every single one of you is created so uniquely by God. You've been given all of these different things, whether they're quirks or things that are just a little bit more unusual or unique, that make you who you are. And you may think that a person wouldn't like you because of those things, but those will be the very, very things that would make someone remember you and someone appreciate you for being yourself. Authenticity in terms of who you are without being afraid that he's not going to like it is going to be so important for you, because many times men will be just taken aback by what they think you are. And if you change that because you think that he wants something different, you could lose out on a really wonderful person. This also kind of goes back to what I was saying about some of your standards. Okay, this is one of those things that happens a lot where maybe you come into the relationship thinking that you're going to be a certain way, and you think by meeting him and dating him that he actually likes something different. So you'll do things like, say, go on dates at his house or at your house, things that you wouldn't normally want to do, but you think, oh, he's more of a homebody. And so maybe I don't want to pressure him to go out to like a festival or a restaurant. So I'm just going to never bring up anything. I'm just going to do what he says and just go over to his house and just sit on the couch. And inside, you're just dying. You're like, I don't want this. This is not me. But you think that if you're not relaxed or you're not cool or you're not whatever it is that he wants, that he's going to stop dating you. If you don't show him or tell him what you're really interested in, that he's not going to like you anymore. And in reality, you're just suppressing who you really are, which eventually will come out anyway. But at that point, it might be too late. And the saddest thing is being with the person and them never really knowing who you really are, how awesome and funny and just laid back, carefree, loving, and beautiful you really are, because you're putting up a front or you're trying to be perfect or you're trying to be poised or just whatever you think he wants instead of being who you are. So remember, just allow yourself to be you. Of course, I always say to always look your best. Okay, show up looking your best, take care of yourself, take care of your body, your skin, your hair, your mental health, smell good. Okay, get fine forever, smell good, look good, and be a good person. And whoever is meant for you will love and see that. And the fifth and final dating mistake that keeps so many of us women single are the words that we speak over our lives. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. Your tongue holds your life or your death. So many of us get into a habit of thinking thoughts that bring us down and saying things about our dating life and about ourselves that bring us down. And believe it or not, this is what's going to set the tone for your success. If you're a woman who thinks about your dating life in a negative way, that's what you're going to attract. If you say things like, there's no more good men out there, if you say things like, where can I find a man like this? These men don't exist. If you say things like, I'm going to be single forever at this rate, if you say things like, I don't really think I'm ever going to have kids because I'm getting so old. If you say these death speaking words, they will kill your life. And I want you to think about this. What kinds of things do you say about your dating life? Do you say, oh, dating is so hard. I hate dating? Do you talk about how much dating sucks? Do you talk badly about men? Okay. Do you even like men? Do you speak badly about them with your friends? Are you saying things that are uplifting? Okay, these things are going to impact your dating life. Men can see it when they see you. They can see right through. They can see through the negativity that you speak. If negative things are always coming out of your mouth on dates or as you're, dating a person, they can tell if you've spoken death onto your life. And you yourself will never be able to be successful if you don't change your thinking, change your words, and change your mind. If you truly are in a place where you believe that these things can happen for you, then, my dear, they won't until you're able to believe it, until you're able to have faith that, yes, you are worthy of love. Yes, you are worthy of being with a man who treats you well, of being with a man who treats you differently than the other men treat their women, whatever it is. If you believe those things, then you, in essence, will have the faith to be able to hold on for those things. And many of times you may have to come back to the drawing board. You may have to kind of cleanse yourself from the bad relationships, the toxic people who've spoken toxic things over your life, your family or whoever raised you and put things in your mind that have harmed you. You may have to detox and do a reset and seek God and believe God in terms of what He said about your life, in terms of the things that He's promised you. This happens to all of us. Okay. We all date and we all get to a point where we think, "Oh, is it really ever going to happen because it doesn't look good?" Okay. We all get there. The difference between the ones who end up happy and in successful relationships and the ones who do not is the faith that we hold, the attitude that we hold, the fact that we refuse to lose. And I want you to reconsider how you've been talking to yourself about who you are, how you look, what you're worth, and the men and dating world. My dear, if you are able to consider these five things that we've talked about and take a hard look at yourself and be honest about where you really are, and if you're ready to take dating seriously, take your wants and your needs seriously, then I invite you to do that today. I invite you to take time, pray about it, ask God to help you to have faith. Okay. You can ask for more faith. For those of you who do not have faith, ask for it because the way you get faith is by hearing about things that bring you life. Okay. Someone else speaking life to you through their tongue, through their words, uplifting you by God's word and by God's promises. These are the things that are going to empower you and remind you of who you are, whose you are, okay, who you belong to, and what has been set aside for your life, which is the promise of prosperity and love in life and in relationships. So, I hope that this video was helpful to you in helping you think about maybe some of the mistakes you've been making and encourage you to start doing things differently for yourself. It's always going to be worth it in the end. I thank you ladies so much for watching this video. I thank you for your support in purchasing my fragrance 2911. I've gotten a lot of questions about whether we ship internationally, and we do. So if you are someone who lives, in another country, the shipping prices are a little bit steeper because it's so far. We are working on that though, and I'm excited for some new fragrances that we're launching this summer. So make sure to follow me at A Feminine Impression on Instagram and my personal page at Dr. Michelle Daff. And remember that in all things you do, make a feminine impression. Bye bye.